You know those days where you look up and think, wait, how is it 3 p.m. already and I've done nothing I actually wanted to do? Yeah, let's talk about that. Most of us are living our lives from the outside in. We wake up, we reach for our phones, and we plug into a world that's already moving, and suddenly we feel behind. A recent study found that 79% of people check their phones within 10 minutes of waking up, which means nearly all of us are starting the day on someone else's timeline. We're responding to messages and updates and distractions before we've even asked ourselves, what do I need today? We're stepping into other people's priorities before we've even connected with our own. And it's not just the mornings, it's the way we fill our time and make decisions and set goals. Turns out we're living mostly from impulse, which is just how the brain is wired, instead of living from intention, which is how we actually build the life we want. This video is about recognizing when you're acting from impulse and how to reclaim those micro moments throughout the day so that you can start living like the most present version of you is in charge. Because once you experience the difference, you won't want to go back. But to make that shift from reacting to choosing, it helps to understand what's actually happening in the brain because this isn't just a mindset issue, it's biology. Impulse is emotional and reactive and fear based. It lives in your limbic system, which is the part of your brain that's wired for survival. It's constantly scanning for threat or reward. That's why you interrupt a task to check a notification, or buy something you didn't plan to, or blurt out a reaction you didn't mean. Impulse wants relief now, not results later. The hardest part is impulse feels normal when you're in it. It's automatic and fast, almost invisible. And that's why catching it in the moment is a skill, and it starts with noticing your patterns. So, what are yours? Do you open 5 new tabs instead of starting your resume? Do you reach for your phone the second you sit down to meditate? Do you say yes to drinks on a weeknight and regret it the second you get home? Those aren't just habits, they're signals. Signals that you're living on impulse, not intention. Intention comes from the prefrontal cortex, which is your decision making center. It's where long term thinking, clarity, and self control live. But here's the problem: the prefrontal cortex doesn't act automatically, it requires focus and energy and deliberate effort. Unlike impulse, which is fast and automatic and always on standby. Impulse doesn't need your permission, it just takes over. Intention does, and if you don't pause long enough to access it, your day gets hijacked before it even begins. One of the easiest ways to start shifting from impulse to intention is looking at how you spend the first hour of your day. There is research showing that if you don't check your email in the first 60 minutes, you can be up to 30% more productive that day. Why? Because your inbox isn't your to-do list. It's just a collection of other people's priorities. So instead of opening that chaos portal first thing, try spending your first hour like this. 10 minutes of meditation. Just sit, breathe, and listen. And you might be surprised what rises when you give your brain a moment of quiet. 20 minutes of movement. Stretch or walk or dance like a weirdo. It really doesn't matter. It's not about the workout. It's about getting out of your head and into your body. 10 minutes of inspiration. Read something that lights you up, a chapter or a poem or a couple of pages. Even just one story, one quote, or one page can shift your mindset for the day. And finally, 20 minutes of planning your day with intention. And I don't mean dumping everything into a to-do list. More like asking yourself, who do I want to be today? What actually matters? What's one thing I want to choose on purpose? And if you want to take it one step further, write it down. Research shows that people who write their intentions are up to 42% more likely to follow through on them. If you don't make time for intention now, you'll spend your whole day reacting and lose way more time trying to recover. But you don't just need to interrupt your mornings, you need to interrupt your trajectory sometimes too. Have you ever looked around at your life and thought, wait, I got everything I said I wanted, so why don't I feel the way I thought I would? That might be because you're living out someone else's dream, and sometimes that someone is just a past version of you. Here's another way impulse sneaks in. You continue chasing goals that don't even fit anymore. You're not unhappy because you're doing it wrong. You're unhappy because you're doing it right for a version of you that no longer exists. That's why intention can't be a one-time vision board. It has to be a constant recalibration. I had to face this recently. I looked around one day and I realized I manifested the life I dreamt of 8 years ago. Remote job, great pay, amazing apartment, and I was grateful, but when I got quiet with myself, I realized I don't want it anymore. And not because it's bad, but because I've changed. And that's why I started doing these like quarterly check-ins with myself. I treat it kind of like a board meeting for my soul. Once a quarter, I sit down with no distractions and I ask myself the following questions. Is this still the life I want? Am I working towards something that fits the current version of me, not just who I was a year ago? What have I been doing out of habit that might not be serving me anymore? What's actually lighting me up right now? What's draining me, and why am I still saying yes to it? If I could rebuild my calendar from scratch, what would I keep? And what would I cut? Is there a decision I've been avoiding? And lastly, what would I do if I wasn't afraid? Now, it's not about having all the answers. It's about taking the time to ask better questions, because nothing is worse than realizing you've spent years climbing a ladder only to discover it's been leaning against the wrong wall. So what do you do with that realization? How do you actually start living from intention? It's not about overhauling your entire life overnight. It's about making micro decisions each day that anchor you back to yourself. So here are a few that help me. Write a personal mission statement, and not just some corporate jargon, but a line that feels like you. My current one is, I choose to do hard things on purpose so I can create a life I don't want to escape from. Read it when you wake up, or before big decisions, or when you're feeling lost. And if you want a way to keep that mission top of mind, try setting a reminder 3 times a day to check in with yourself. You can label it something like coming back to yourself. Just a simple reminder to check in and ask, am I showing up in the way I meant to today? It's not about judging yourself. It's just a reminder to recalibrate, to realign, to remember what matters. And sometimes, though, we need more than words to remind us. Another one I love is to make a vision board that reflects how you want to feel. Not just aesthetic photos or wishes. This isn't about manifesting a mansion or a new car. It's about creating a mood board for your future self. Include things like a picture of someone walking in nature if you want more peace, or a quote about courage if you are working on bravery. Maybe a few photos of friends laughing if you're craving connection. What do you want your life to feel like every day? And lastly, create a 1-minute pause ritual. Before you react to something, an email or a text or a craving, close your eyes if you can. Place one hand on your chest. Take a deep breath in and out. And then ask yourself, is this a reaction or a choice? And just this awareness can shift everything. It interrupts the autopilot and it brings you back into the driver's seat. And over time, those tiny pauses start to rewire your life. But this isn't about reinventing your whole routine overnight. You don't need to become part of the 5 a.m. club or a perfect meditator. You just need to start noticing, start choosing, start coming back to yourself one small moment at a time. You just need to pause more than you react, to live from intention more often than impulse. So here's your challenge. Tomorrow morning, before you reach for your phone, reach for yourself. Ask, what does this version of me actually want today? That one moment might change your whole day. And enough of those days, they change your life. Drop a comment. What's one impulse you're ready to interrupt? And what intention do you want to replace it with? And if this video resonated, subscribe for more grounded tools to help you live on purpose. Thanks so much for watching.